everyone, welcome to Live Interactive English. This is Karen.
Hi everybody, I'm Shane.
Today we're looking at day 2 of our story called The Great Stone Face. And the vocabulary words are convince.
Convince.
The letter never arrived. I'm convinced that it got lost in the mail.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Fabled.
Fabled.
There is no evidence that the fabled city ever existed.
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
I would never ignore the wisdom of my grandparents.
Sympathy.
Sympathy.
It's clear you're going through hard times. You have my sympathy.
Aww. Thank you. Disappointed.
Disappointed.
Jack was disappointed that he couldn't go to the fair. So we're still talking about the story of the Great Stone Face, right?
So the Great Stone Face is a mountain that looks like a wise man, and Ernest really wants to meet this man, and they think one day this man will appear in their village.
That's right.
So now we have some guys coming to the village, like...
And people are thinking or guessing, maybe that's the wise old man that people have been looking for.
So number one, I'll tell you who it is, and you tell me what's wrong with that person, okay?
Okay.
There's a wealthy merchant. What was wrong with him?
I think everyone thought he was really successful, but then he went broke.
So he lost all his money.
Yeah, he lost all his money, and then I think after getting to know him, they thought that he was no one special.
So it can't be him. Okay, then there was a great war hero.
Hero?
Hero? What was wrong with him?
I think he was much admired, but he was not very smart. He lacked wisdom.
Right, he was not very well spoken, right?
That's right.
And then there's some other guy, and what was the problem with him?
The other guy lacked sympathy.
Sympathy, right? So he was very well spoken, but lacked sympathy. So now Ernest feels kind of disappointed, right?
But he still believed that, one day he's going to meet this man who looks like the Great Stone Face.
So he still has hope.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's find out more.
Okay.
Enjoy.
The Great Stone Face.
As Ernest grew up, many people came forward and claimed to be the man who would fulfill the prophecy. The first to make such a claim was a rich merchant named Gathergold, who was returning to the valley after many years away. He had grown powerfully wealthy, using his money to build a great palace in the village. The villagers were convinced he was the fabled man, but when he went broke, they saw he was no one special. Ernest knew this all along.
Welcome to Live Interactive English Magazine. Today's lesson is called The Great Stone Face, Day 2. Hi everyone, my name is Jeff.
And I'm Mike. Yes, we're reading our story for this month, The Great Stone Face, about a small town that's been doing very well, and a lot of people in the town seem to think it's thanks to the Great Stone Face. This is a pile of rocks just outside of the mountain. It looks down on the town, and at certain times of the day and certain light probably, it looks like the face of a wise old man. And some people, especially our main character Ernest, believe that this is the reason why the town is so successful, healthy, and happy. Ernest loves the stone face so much, he wants to meet the man who the prophecy says will come back to look like the face.
That's only half of it, Mike. He likes this great stone face so much that it kind of dominates his life. It's the most important thing in his life.
He's a fan.
It has come to shape the course of his life.
Yeah.
How about that? Anyways, as Ernest grew up, all kids do grow up. As Ernest grew up, many people came forward and claimed to be the man who would fulfill the prophecy. But Ernest, he was an expert on the Great Stone Face. He would know whether or not this person was actually the real great person foretold by the prophecy.
So these people are coming forward, and they're basically announcing themselves publicly, saying, I am the man who is the Great Stone Face. I will, get older and look like this face. I am the hero that your town has been looking for. It says the first to make such a claim was a rich merchant named Gathergold, who was returning to the valley after many years away. So he's a very wealthy man who came from the town, moved away, made a lot of money, and now he's back to say, yes, I am the prophecy, I am the great stone face of the prophecy. So how wealthy is this guy?
Well, I don't know for sure, but he was pretty wealthy. Get this, he had grown powerfully wealthy, using his money to build a great palace in the village. And get this, the villagers were convinced he was the fabled man. But when he went broke, they saw he was no one special. And Ernest, being the expert on the great stone face, he knew this all along. He knew that Gather Gold, fake. He's a fake. He's a counterfeit great man.
He's a guy who acts like a really successful businessman, but turns out he's actually not a very successful businessman.
Exactly.
Wow.
Right on the money, Mike. I couldn't have said it any better myself.
That does remind me of someone.
Who are you talking about? Okay,
words escape me. Let's move on to our first new word for today, convince. This verb means to use your words to influence or to change a person's mind. If someone's saying, no, I don't want to do that, and you say, come on, it'll be fun. Everyone else is going. Don't you think you'll miss out if you don't go? It's going to be great. And then they say, okay, I'll go. You have convinced that person to change their mind. You don't threaten them. You don't say, if you don't, I'm going to hurt you. No, you're using words, you're using logic, you're using good arguments to change a person's mind. For example, the letter never arrived. I'm convinced that it got lost in the mail. I've thought about it. This is what I've come to believe. This is what I think is the truth.
Also, we have this adjective fabled to talk about. If something is fabled, it is legendary and famous, though probably also a fiction, okay? So if we're talking about this fabled person, we're talking about the person foretold by the prophecy, okay? That's what we're talking about here, that amazing person who's going to come or is supposed to come based on the prophecy, this fabled person. For example, there is no evidence that the fabled city ever existed. Yes, many people foretold of a city called El Dorado, but it never actually existed. It's only a fabled city. People talked about it in stories, but it's totally fiction. That city never existed.
Yeah, not like Atlantis, which was real.
With that, folks, it's time for us to take a break. We'll see you right after this. Atlantis is not.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们在第一天的故事读到 ，Ernest 住的村子里面曾经有一个预言说，未来那边会出一名伟人，他会像人面巨石呢，有着睿智老人的面容。那么 Ernest 希望有朝一日可以见到这个伟人。好，随着 Ernest 慢慢长大，很多人都出来声称自己就是预言里面的那个人。那第一位是名叫 Gather Gold 的有钱商人，他离乡背井很多年，那即将要回到山谷。这个人他有钱有势，还用他的钱在村里面盖了一座宫殿，村民也很确信他就是传说中的那个人。不过当 Gather Gold 破产的时候，人们才发现这个人一点都不特别啊。那 Ernest 他从头到尾都知道这件事。好，文中的 go broke 是指破产，那么 all along 这是副词片语，它表示自始至终或者是一直。这边还有两个单字 convince 是动词，它是指使什么确信，使什么信服，也可以指说服。我们常常用被动语态 be convinced 加上 that 子句来表达确信某事，信服某事。那么 fabled它是形容词，形容传说中的或者是闻名的、传奇式的。Jeff 老师刚刚用到 legendary 这个形容词也可以用来形容传说的、传奇的或是著名的。好，老师还有用到一个动词叫 foretell， 它的动词三态是 foretell、foretold， 那这个字表示预言。接回到课文中。
The Great Stone Face.
Years later, an old war hero, Old Blood and Thunder, returned to the village. Many believed him to be the greatest hero who'd ever lived. Surely he was the one. But when the villagers heard him speak, they saw he had no wisdom, and therefore couldn't be the promised man. Ernest began to despair.
All right, before the break, we talked about Gather Gold.
Yeah.
What a great name, Gather Gold. But get this, it turns out that Gather Gold wasn't special. He went broke. He stopped gathering gold and started losing his gold. Anyways, it's enough of Gather Gold. Let's talk about the next contender. Let's talk about Old Blood and Thunder.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's the next guy who comes along to say he is the fabled Great Stone Face. Years later, an old war hero, Old Blood and Thunder.
Oh.
Returned to the village. That's right. He's lived a past of great violence and bloody battles and wars, so that's why he goes by the name Old Blood and Thunder. Now, like with Gathergold, many in the town, many believed him to be the greatest hero who'd ever lived. Surely he was the one. If he's killed lots of our country's enemies, then he must be a great person. He must be the Great Stone Face.
Also, the name Old Blood and Thunder.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that just sounds great and
you're kind
intimidating.
You're kind of afraid of him too. Yeah.
Either really afraid or in total awe of the man. Anyways.
So he's kind of like The Rock.
He's kind of The Rock. He's kind of like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Okay. He might be the Great Stone Face or the Great Rock. Let's move on. The next sentence says, but when the villagers heard him speak, when they heard Old Blood and Thunder speak, they saw he had no wisdom and therefore couldn't be the promised man. And this wasn't good. Get this, Ernest began to despair.
Yeah, well, he might be a great hero. He may have killed many enemies in battle, but that's not much good if you're leading the country. He has no wisdom. And wisdom is something you want in your rulers and your leaders. Wisdom, this noun, basically is knowledge and intelligence. But this is the kind of knowledge and intelligence you don't get from reading books or studying or spending a lot of time in a library. You get wisdom through living a life, through having a lot of experiences, through meeting a lot of people and learning from them. A grandfather who's never been to school would probably have more wisdom than a brilliant young student, simply because the grandfather has seen more and experienced more in his life, or grandmother, of course. An older person will have wisdom through their life, not so much just through learning from books. For example, I would never ignore the wisdom of my grandparents. They've seen it all. They've been through a lot. Absolutely.
Very, very wise. Yeah, wisdom is the noun. Wise is the adjective. Anyways,
so, Old Blood and Thunder was not a wise man.
Old Blood and Thunder was not wise at all. And I don't think he doesn't sound like an eloquent guy either.
Next.
Sounds like he's a bludgeoner. Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
有一名很有钱的商人 Gathergold 说他是寓言里面的伟人，可是当他破产的时候，人们就发现他一点不特别，就被识破了。那几年之后，有一位年老的战争英雄回到村子里面，他叫做 Old Blood and Thunder。老雷血将军，很多人认为他是史上最伟大的英雄，他一定就是那个伟人。老师们觉得光是他的名字就很吓人了，然后还开玩笑说他搞不好长得就像 The Rock 那个演员巨石强森一样，体格壮硕，然后勇猛剽悍。不过这位老雷血将军他一讲话就破功了，村民觉得他讲话没有智慧，不可能是预言中的那个人。Ernest 他就开始绝望了。好，这边有一个单字 wisdom。Wisdom 是指智慧，是当名词。那它的形容词是 wise，wise 是形容有智慧的或是聪明的。至于补充单字 despair 它是动词，表示感到绝望。解华课文中
The Great Stone Face.
Then one day, a man called Old Stony Phiz returned to the valley. His name was known near and far, for he was a very well-spoken and much-admired statesman. Ernest could see a resemblance, but he saw in the man's face a lack of sympathy. He, too, was not the promised one. Ernest, once more disappointed, looked up to the great stone face. "Fear not, the man will come," it seemed to say.
All right, so Gathergold turned out to be a fool. He lost all his money.
Yeah.
Then we also had Old Blood and Thunder.
He would have started wars all over the place.
But, yeah, fantastic warrior, that guy.
But not a leader.
But he wasn't wise at all, and he wasn't all that eloquent either. That's what I would have gathered from meeting this guy, maybe. Okay, but next up, we've got Old Stony Phiz. Another great name, okay? Old Stony Phiz. How can you not like that name? And by the way, Old Stony Phiz, unlike Old Blood and Thunder, is extremely eloquent.
Sounds like a boutique root beer.
That sounds delicious to me.
All right, let's talk about the next so-called hero, Old Stony Fizz. It says, then one day a man called Old Stony Fizz returned to the valley. Well, if they're looking for the Great Stone Face, a guy with the name Old Stony Fizz
pretty close.
Sounds pretty close. By the way, we should point out fizz is not really a word. Even spelling it that way is slightly strange. But it's a name, all right, Old Stony Fizz. His name, because it's so strange, his name was known near and far, for he was a very well-spoken and much admired statesman.
Very eloquent.
Okay.
Very eloquent.
And a statesman is kind of like a national leader, someone, a diplomat maybe, someone who's traveled a lot, knows a lot of the important leaders in other countries. This could be, someone who could be their leader.
Sounds kind of wise.
Yeah.
Sounds eloquent. When someone's eloquent, by the way, they're well-spoken.
They're
good
not speeches. Yeah.
They're not like old Blood and Thunder, who was neither wise nor eloquent. Let's kill something. Let's bludgeon something. Anyways, Ernest apparently gazed upon Old Stony Fizz there, and Ernest could see a resemblance between Old Stony Fizz and the Great Stone Face, but he saw in the man's face a lack of sympathy. Now, if you have sympathy, everyone, you can take pity on someone else. You're capable of feeling other people's emotions and walking in their shoes. You can feel bad for someone who's going through something bad and stuff like that. Okay, by the way, the word sympathy is a noun. The word sympathetic would be the adjective. Anyways, for example, it's clear you're going through hard times. You have my sympathy. I feel for you.
There. That's right. And that's the kind of thing we look for in leaders. Leaders who can talk to people unlike them, poor people, people who are going through tragedies, but still understand their feelings and feel bad for them because of the trouble that they're going through. If you lack sympathy, as the Old Stony Fizz apparently did, that means you're kind of cold, you're kind of uncaring. So maybe not the best leader. How would he understand the troubles of an unemployed person or a single mother or an elderly person? So, he doesn't have that human emotional connection. He too was not the promised one. You're out too, Old Stony Fizz. Keep looking. Ernest, once more disappointed, looked up to the Great Stone Face. Fear not, the man will come, it seemed to say. So this is what he imagines the Great Stone Face is saying to him as he looks at it, feeling very disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed, sad, and let down. Oh, will he ever come? Will this great man ever come?
There you go. That's what the adjective disappointed means. Sad, let down, depressed, blue, or just bummed, man. For example, Jack was disappointed that he couldn't go to the fair.
He wanted to go. He expected to go, but it didn't happen. Poor guy. Anyways, fear not. The man will come, the Great Stone Face seemed to say. Okay, so. I'm not afraid. I feel great now that the Great Stone Face is talking through Ernest, which is kind of weird. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break right now, but don't go away. We'll be concluding our story next time.
第三位是名叫 Old Stony Fizz 的男子，他远近驰名，因为他是个能言善道又很受到敬重的政治家。Ernest 觉得这个人长得有点像人面巨石，可是他的脸上少了同情心，一定不是他。Ernest 又再次失望了。我们先来看单字 sympathy。Sympathy 是名词，表示同情或是赞同。那它的形容词是 sympathetic。Sympathetic 表示同情的或是有同情心的。那我们还可以用片语 take pity on somebody 来表达同情某人、怜悯某人。好，再来看 disappointed。Disappointed 它是形容失望的、沮丧的。那 Mike 老师在解释时，他提到 depressed。Depressed 是形容沮丧的、消沉的或是忧郁的。好，至于补充单字 resemblance。Resemblance 它是名词，表示相似之处，或者是指容貌相像。至于 statesman 是指政治家。刚刚 Jeff 老师提到说，能言善道的政治家，他有用到 eloquent 这个字。eloquent 它是形容口才好的、口齿伶俐的，或者是雄辩的。好了，那么以上是这些讲解，同学们别走开，马上回来哦。 大家好，我是 Hanny。在今天的课程中，我们要介绍2个文法重点。第一个是 claim 的用法，第二个是感官动词的用法。首先，我们来学习 claim 的用法。第一个用法是当动词表示宣称或是声称或是断言。那常见的用法是 claim 加上不定词，或者是 claim 加上 that 子句。例如 The man claims to have seen a ghost. 那名男子声称他有看过鬼。Max claimed that he had been to 50 countries. Max 声称他有去过50个国家。第二个用法是当名词来搭配动词 make a claim 或是 make a claim that 什么什么，就表示宣称什么、断言什么。例如 She made a claim that she found a 4-leaf clover. 她宣称她找到4叶草，也就是找到幸运草。最后，我们来学习感官动词的用法。感官动词是指表示看、听、闻、感觉之类的动词，那么包含 watch, see, look at, listen to, hear, feel 等等。常见的用法有3种。第一种是感官动词加受词加原形动词，这是强调观察到全程的动作或事实。第二个用法是感官动词加受词加现在分词，这是强调观察到片段或是观察到正在发生的事。第3种用法是感官动词加受词加过去分词，那这是用来指受词跟补语呈现被动关系。我们来看3个例句。She listened to her sister sing. 她听她姐姐唱歌，那就是强调观察到过程。They heard someone talking downstairs. 他们听到楼下有人在讲话，那这是强调观察到进行。I saw a motorcyclist stopped by the police. 我看到一位机车骑士被警方拦下来，那这是在强调被动。以上是节重点整理，我们下次见喽 ！See you next time. Bye.
欢迎收看就爱讲英文，我是悠悠，
我是 Jay。
开会的时候呢，不管是同意或不同意，这个对方的意见哦，你知道我最害怕让两边起争执，
对，僵持不下，
很可怕哎。
对。
那该怎么办？
我们今天就来教大家怎么优雅的处理、化解这些会议上发生的争议。好了，
躲起来。
对，躲起来没有用啊。对，出来面对啊，出来。
可是你要大家吵成闹哄哄的一团怎么办？
那你身为一个主席的话呢，场控非常重要哈，所以你就可以清一清喉咙。你就说 We can't all speak at once.
We can't all speak at once.
对，我们不能所有的人一起讲话，这样谁听得到 ？We can't all speak at once，对不对？那你就看要点名谁好。
哦，你先
OK，Would you like to speak first?
Would you like to speak first?
你先讲好了。Would you like to speak first? 你比较漂亮，你先讲好了。啊，对。
接下来呢，我们就赶快这个转场，让大家消火气，对不对？所以这个主席很重要。
哎，再没有意见的话，我们就往下讲了啊。好，就说 If there are no further comments, I like to move on to the next topic.
If there are no further comments, I'd like to move on to the next topic.
OK，no further comments 就是没有进一步的这些评论啊，你没有什么话要讲了，那我们就 move on to the next topic. Move on 是前进、继续的意思。那有一个很类似的说法，你也可以说，哎，如果大家都已经清楚了，If everyone is clear on that, let's discuss some new business.
If everyone is clear on that, let's discuss some new business. 就是我们讨论别的吧。
Be clear on something 就是呢，这件事情已经清楚了，已经厘清了，已经搞懂了，话都已经讲清楚了，那我们就讨论下一个主题啊 ，discuss some new business。记得啊 ，discuss 我们不要说 discuss about something，是直接 discuss something，因为它是及物动词。
那我们就接下来 discuss something live action.
Everyone, we can't all speak at once. Would you like to speak first, Yo-Yo? Okay. Right. Only that. Yeah. Right. If there are no further comments, I'd like to move on to the next topic. Right? If everyone is clear on that, let's discuss some new business.